If you're running a big team with lots of employees, then you know staying compliant with all the rules and regulations that you have to as a business can be quite tricky. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can build a compliance chatbot inside of StackAI in just a few minutes that your employees can use to solve this problem. So without further ado, let's tuck in. Once we're in StackAI, we're just going to go and we're going to create a new project. We're going to select Workflow Builder. I'm going to go New Project. I'm going to use this template. I'm going to call this one a compliance checker, and I'm going to create a project. Now using this one is pretty minimal. We've just got a simple input, an LLM step in the middle, and then an output here. But how I want this to work is I need a text input for the user to ask a question or for your employee to ask a question. And then I need them to be able to upload some files. It can contain things like social media posts or, I don't know, some sort of document that they're working with that they need to check is fully compliant. So we need to go to input on the left. We need to select files and drag it and pop it on the canvas and connect this into our first LLM step. If you want to, I always like adding a sticky note here and giving a label as to what this node is going to do. I'm going to say, let the user upload a file that needs to be checked. Okay. And this is more for other members of your team who are coming in and they might want to figure out exactly what's going on in this flow. And if you label it, it's nice and easy to figure out. Now we can go into the first major step of this flow, which is our LLM step. I'm going to leave this model as OpenAI's GPT-4o Mini because that's okay. I'm just going to need to go and update these instructions here. Now for this use case, we are going to create a compliance checker for a fictitious financial services company, which is going to be a retail bank. And here is the prompt. You are a compliance and risk management assistant for a retail bank. Your job is to answer employee questions about internal compliance policies clearly, concisely, and with references to official policy documentations provided in your knowledge base. Always cite the exact section, page, or policy name where the answer is found. If the answer cannot be confirmed in the policies, do not guess. Instead, respond with "this requires escalation to the compliance team." Do not invent rules or advice. Okay, it's important. It's pretty rigid. And now we can scroll down and we're going to need to add some knowledge. We're going to come back to this prompt in a sec because we need to add some additional fields. But we're going to go knowledge base and I'm going to upload a couple of knowledge bases that I created for this tutorial. I'm going to go here, I'm going to go browse, and I'm uploading these two files. The first one is an AML KYC manual, and the second one is a social media compliance doc. This means we need to comply with banking regulations, and we also need to make sure that our social media posts aren't breaking compliance. I mean, we can't push stuff that is against the law. Pretty obvious. Then what we need to do is actually just check these, and once we've selected them, you can see on the left here on our node, you can see these documents are now attached. Okay, nice. We're going to scroll down a little bit. We're going to go on tools, and now we can see we've got this search knowledge base tool added. If we keep on opening these sections, we've got our main settings, which is our memory. And we actually want to toggle on citations and use references because we want the users to know exactly which piece of our knowledge it's using to check their social media posts, for instance, or any other files they may upload. So where is the rule in the documentation and which one are you referring to? So that's citations and references. If we go to advanced settings, we actually want to toggle on a couple of things down here. We're going to go with PII compliance. By enabling this, which stands for personally identifiable information, this will hide the confidential information from the LLMs. We actually want to change these two. We want to go to email, we're going to do encrypt, the same for phone, the same for SSN, and the same for credit card. Temperature, we're going to leave at 0 because we want actual just factual information here. We don't want hallucinations. And that is pretty good for us now. I'm just going to save this to make sure we don't lose any of it. And now I'm going to scroll back up to our prompt here. This is where we're going to feed in the context from the previous steps into this prompt. So here is what I'm going to give it. I'm going to delete this and I'm going to paste this in. It says, when an employee asks a question about internal retail banking policies, use the following process. We're going to have the user message. This is the text input, which comes from the first node over on the left-hand side. The files is going to be the documents that the user uploads. And then at the end, it will say, locate the relevant policy section, the provided files, using search knowledge base, summarize the rule in simple terms. If the information is unclear or missing, reply, this requires escalation to the compliance team. Ensure your answer is concise, using 2 to 4 sentences. Now, this escalation is going to be an email step, which we're going to add in a minute or so. You see, I've got this search knowledge base thing here, but what you can actually do is press @ and then it will show you your list of available tools. You're going to press enter, and that will make sure it's being mapped properly. Previous one was just a placeholder for me. Okay, now I think we're actually good to go. Let's save, and we can close this node, and we now have a pretty simple flow, which is going to take a text input, it's going to take a file, it's going to run it through our OpenAI step, and then it's going to give us an output. Now we've got this, we need to add another step. That is going to be another LLM step. So you could either click on this plus, we're going to go to LLMs, I'm going to go to OpenAI, I'm going to drag this on, and we're going to scroll to make sure we can actually see what we're doing. And here we go. Let's connect these two. For this, I'm going to use GPT 4.1. It doesn't matter too much here, but you want just a powerful model. Most of them will work for this use case. And in the prompt, I'm going to do this. And for this prompt, or for these instructions, I want to actually draft the email. So if this needs to be escalated and say the social media post or whatever documentation actually needs a third party or a member of the team to actually check that it is compliant, we want to escalate it by sending an email. And here's how we're going to do that. Okay, you're a compliance and risk management assistant for a retail bank. I'm going to scroll down, and the prompt we're going to give it is this here. If the compliance checker's output is ambiguous or does not provide a clear decision, draft an email summarizing the user's message and escalate the issue. Okay, now inside of this prompt box, I'm going to put this prompt. If the compliance checker's output is ambiguous or does not provide a clear decision, draft an email summarizing the user's message and escalate the issue to the compliance team. Include any relevant files for context. Now you can see this is the completion for this node in the middle. Now it's just called OpenAI completion, but you can see I've labeled it compliance checker output. I'm just going to go ahead and rename this node just so anybody else looking in knows what's going on really quickly. So I'm going to go and there we go. Go back in here and you can see compliance checker output, the completion of it. Down here, we have the text input. This comes from the user question on the top node over here. And then we're using a send email tool down here. If you go down, you can see we don't have any knowledge base attached to this node, and we need to add a tool. Okay, we need to add this send email tool. Go here, add tool. You go to Gmail, press this. We're going to use a send email, and then go ahead and just connect your Gmail account. Once you've done that, you can actually click into each individual input and the content and the subject, and you can see the LLM is just going to handle this for you. So you actually don't need to worry about it at all. If you did want to go into configure it, you can do. If you wanted to test it, you can do that too. But for this use case, we're just going to close it down because it's actually just going to work for us. We don't actually need to change any of the main settings or advanced settings on this node because it's simply just going to be drafting an email for us. So we can close that. And what I'm going to do is actually rename this node too, just so it's best practice. I'm going to call it email drafter. Pretty straightforward. Okay. Now look, we've got a nice flow. We're good to go. We can upload files. We can ask a question. We're going to run it through the knowledge base that we attached, and let's just go and give it a test. I'm going to go to export. Let's just save this. I'm going to go to export, and we're going to actually serve this up as a chat assistant. And we're going to use this interface. I'm going to call this application compliance checker. And the description is going to be checks company Okay, there we go. Checks company policies against user-facing content to ensure everything is fully compliant with regulations. Pretty straightforward. The inputs we're going to have is going to be the text input, and it's going to be the files that we want. And do we need anything else? No, we're good. Okay, now we can actually go ahead and test this. Let's upload a social media post, for instance. I've got this one, get a credit card with great rewards. Let's see if this is compliant. Is this social post compliant? Send it. It's going to process it. Okay, it says the social post, get the credit card with great rewards, apply now, must comply with specific guidelines. It should clearly disclose the annual percentage rate, the APR, and any conditions relating to the rewards program. Misleading claims are prohibited. Okay, then it references the source, and then down below, it's escalated this to the right person. And that's it. That is how you can create a compliance checking assistant for a retail banking client or any other use case that you can think of inside of StackAI. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and catch you on the next one.